Hey, everybody. Welcome to Celebration Bar Review's countdown leading up to the upcoming bar exam. My name is Jackson Mumey. I'm glad to have you with us today. And right now, you should be watching this video with about 70 or 71 days until the exam. Now, to me, that sounds like a long time away, but for many of you, it probably sounds like the exam is just around the corner. Some of you have just completed graduation from law school, in which case, congratulations, that's great news. And you're just beginning to get into your studies. Others of you have been studying for a while in preparation for the test, and you're probably more into the flow and the regular study schedule at this point. Results have been released from the previous exam by the time we hit this point. So there are many of you, and frankly, these days, a majority of you who are in the situation where you're retaking the test. Perhaps you just got your results in the last couple of weeks and you're jumping back in right away to take the test again. No matter where you are in the process, from a first-time taker who's just graduated law school to a repeat taker who's just found out you have to take the exam, no matter what that circumstance is, one of the questions that comes up very frequently at this stage of study is the question, is my work of a passing quality? I think that's actually not the right question to be asking right now. And in this video, I want to talk about what the right question is. I think the better question when we get to this stage of the process is to ask, what direction are you headed in, and are you seeing improvement? And that's my message. You see, at about 70 days to the exam, I don't actually expect very much in the way of passing quality work from any students. And don't misunderstand, it's great when we get it. I'm delighted when it happens. And if you've been studying for quite some time, if you've been in the process for a while, it's possible, in fact, very possible, that you'll be doing passing quality work at this stage. But I want to be clear, by and large, most people do not do work that we would describe or evaluate as passing work with 70 days to go. So what we're really interested in as teachers is, are you getting better? Is there continuous progress or improvement in the work that you're doing? For example, if you're in our course right now and you're doing multiple choice, multi-state questions, know that we give you a series of questions over time in each of the 7 multi-state subjects. So I'm asked frequently, what's a good score to have on each group of 25 questions that I do? And the answer is, there is no answer. How metaphysical of me. There is no score that we care about because no score is actually predictive at this stage. Now, in our course, you'll come to the predictive part closer to the end of the course when you do full-length actual exams, and we'll tell you that's the predictive part and here's the number to be shooting. For right now, the goal is to learn from what you're doing. It's to read the answer explanations if you're in our course and to get better from those. If you're not in our course and you're doing multiple choice questions, I would not worry so much on what your score looks like. Frankly, any course that's valid would not be giving you full-length exams at this stage anyway, unless they were trying to frighten you. So just concentrate on learning and understanding the law. Get better at the substance, the knowledge behind each subject. What about essay writing? When it comes to essay writing, regardless of the state that you're in, and certainly if you're in our course, we've provided for you a proprietary writing format that we want you to follow. Right now, your focus should be on getting that format down, getting it to become a habit and something you're comfortable with. And the structure is more important right now than getting really great substance and legal understanding. Now, it's great if you've got the substance and the legal structure, that helps. And the more solid you can make it, the better. As consistently as you can get the law is the direction, obviously, that you want to be headed. The analogy that I use with my students is that I think of the writing approach as being like a container or a pot. You want to shape it. You want to make sure that it's solid, that it doesn't leak, that it's consistent. Once you've done that, you could pour just about any substance into that container, and then it'll work. And that's the beauty of the template and the writing system that we teach. If you're not in our class, or if you're studying on your own, what you want to do here is to be certain that the essay work that you're preparing, you're simply getting better at it than you were a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks before. If you've just started out, your work probably won't be passing quality. And sometimes the expectations are just unrealistic for lawyers and bar students. They tend to expect that after 1 or 2 attempts at writing, the work will magically be of passing quality. And while that does happen to a very small minority of students, by and large, for most of us, it just doesn't work that way. So don't make that your expectation. It's unrealistic, and it'll discourage you if you don't reach it. Instead, it's much better to take your written work and to ask yourself, is this piece of work better, more consistent, better formatted, better structured, better organized, better mechanically written, and done in proper time or less time than the essays I did last week or last month? If so, you're moving in the right direction. Now, in the same way, you want to evaluate your performance test. Are you able to do it under the time conditions that are given? Are you consistent and better with the organization and the tone and the audience than where you were when you did your last performance test last week, last month, whatever it might be? If so, you're headed in the right direction, and it's 71 days to go. That's the key. It's much too easy to be focused and fixated on this idea of passing quality. The time for that consideration, the time for focus on whether or not you're doing passing work will come, but it's too early right now, regardless of what kind of course you're in or how long you've been studying. So for right now, think about direction, getting better, getting more proficient. If you're just starting out, don't bring the expectation that you're going to sit down and immediately do 100 multiple choice questions and get 85 of them correct. It generally doesn't happen that way. In the same way, don't think you're going to sit down with an essay. You've never seen one before, but suddenly you'll bang it out. It'll be perfect. Everyone will be raving about how great you're doing. I know you heard a lot of that in law school, but it's not the case on the bar. And a special word for those of you who may not be taking any course, but your technique was you just use the bar examiner's model answers and maybe watch my videos. I appreciate your confidence in me. I don't think relying on model answers is a good strategy. In fact, I think it's one of the worst sources of information that you could get. It doesn't actually give you any sense of what's really going on when it comes to the scoring. It's a very dangerous way to study, and I've talked about it in other places. I do know that people do this all the time, but the reality is that when you look at a model answer from the examiners, it's as misleading as it is helpful. And that's by design. The examiners don't want to be trapped into any one answer, any one approach, any one design that people could say, I did that and I didn't pass. How come? So they give you information that is not very useful and not very great when it comes to studying. The reality of model and sample answers from bar examiners is that they're under duress. The examiners are required to do them. They don't want to do them. They don't put them out there to help you pass their exam. So looking at a model answer is not the way to go. It's not the way to learn how to write an essay. The better way is to look at your previous work and then ask yourself, am I getting better? Is my answer better organized? Is it better structured? Have I focused on the core disputes and problems rather than just spotting issues? Have I gone beyond just memorizing and reciting elements of law and getting into the heart of the study itself? Keep that in mind no matter how you're studying. And of course, if you're in our course, you know how I feel about comparing your work to model and sample answers. There are plenty of those kinds of answers available, but in our course, we've given you what we think of as proprietary model answers in the right structure, and they'll help you move in the proper direction. If you're doing all of those things, you're going to find that the next 71 days become much more productive for you than if you set your sights on doing passing work today. Not necessary today that you're passing. It's not realistic. It generally just doesn't happen. As you move forward, you're going to get better. You'll get faster. You'll get more efficient. You'll learn more. You'll know more. And that's the purpose of your studies, right? Work steadily, work in the right direction. If you do that, you're going to have a very successful week of study. We'll see you again next week as we continue our countdown to the upcoming bar exam.